All right, hey everyone. This is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So welcome back also to the final read-through bit for Yona of the Dawn Volume 1. So we're just going to cover the final few chapters. I think there's only 2 chapters left in the rest of Volume 1. So we're just going to go through those really quick, and then I'll give kind of my thoughts on Volume 1 so far. I've got the next 3 volumes already checked out from the library and at home now. So hopefully over the next few weeks I'll start trickling out more read-through videos for this as I cover the other volumes. But yeah, without further ado, let us dive into Yona of the Dawn with Chapter 4, Distant Skies. So go back to an image of, little Yona just looking super adorable with her short hair, thinking, "Please don't cry, Father. Mother's gone, but I'm still here. You're not alone. And I have Suwon with me." And you see them going outside, and there's heavy snow falling down. And your little Suwon goes, "Yona, look, it's snow." And she's like, "Uh-huh." And he runs up with his little snowball in his hand. He's like, "Dum, dum, dum." He's like, "I bought you a dumpling." And he comes back. He's like, "Look, it's a weird animal." And you see him having formed a little bear out of the snow. And then he goes, "Yona." And she's like, "Oh, I'm fine." And she's like, "I need to stay cheerful so my father doesn't cry." And you can see that she's trying to put on a brave face, after having just gone through her mother's funeral. And as she goes forward with this, she's got a giant squish and a gah. And he's like, "Gah?" And you see that she's stepping on Huck's. She's been stepping on Huck, who's lying on the ground. He goes, "You're heavy." And Yona's like, "Huck?" And Suwon's like, "Yay, it's Huck." He's like, "Keep away from me and watch where you're going, Your Highness. I was in such a good mood, too." And Yona's like, "Why are you lying down here?" And then he just spreads his arms out and he flops back on the ground. And he goes, "I'm making it so that everyone who passes by knows I was here. Wanting to relax in fresh white snow is only natural." And you see little Suwon like, "Oh, that's so cool, Huck." And you see a giant pumph as a snowball goes flying into his face. And Yona goes, "And it makes you the perfect target for snowballs." And she hefts another one. And Huck's like, "Oh." And you see a grass. They start just hurling snowballs back and forth in a little mini fight. And little kid Suwon's like, "That's amazing, Huck. You cheered Yona right up." He's like, "Let me play too." And you see the next day, you have Yona lying in bed with a little hot compress on her forehead with a cough, cough. And Suwon or Huck are just leaning next to her bed. And he goes, "Yona isn't feeling good anymore." And Huck's like, playing that snow was too much for her. And Suwon's like, "I'm sorry, Yona." And one of the maids goes, "She'll be fine as long as she takes her medicine and gets some rest." And Yona's like, "Where's my father?" So the maid goes, "His Majesty is extremely busy. He only recently ascended the throne, remember? But I'm sure he'll visit when he can. Don't worry, Yona. When he hears how sick you are, he'll come running to see you." And she goes, "And you two can leave now. Don't get too close to Yona." And both Huck and Suwon are like, "We'll be fine. We're strong and healthy." And Suwon's like, "I'm warm all over." Huck's like, "I think I played too much. I'm still seeing snowballs." And they both just slump over together. And then Yona's like, "Nurse, you've got some more patients." And then you see Yona and Huck on the next, or see Huck and Suwon on the next page on either side of Yona with their own little compresses. And you have all 3 of them caught a cold. So that explains why I thought there were snowballs flying around me. Shouldn't you two head home? It's better if we recover here so we don't get anyone else sick. Plus, the nurse here is great. And he's like, "Lately I've been holding Yona's hand while we sleep, so this is just like normal." He's like, "You do that?" And Huck's like, "I think I should leave. I'm in the way." Suwon's like, "What? All 3 of us should hold hands." Like, "You can't be serious." Then with the slam, Huck's grandfather comes running and screaming, "Huck!" And he's like, "Ah!" He's like, Grandpa? He's like, you brat, I heard Her Highness fell ill because you're throwing snow at her. If there's snow, it's... And Huck's like, if there's snow, it's protocol to throw it at someone. It's not like I put a curse on her. He's like, you whippersnapper, get ready for a whipping. And he's like, no, not that. And the nurse is like, General, please stop, they're sick. And you have Grandpa got scolded and left. And Huck's like, I think I will stay here. If I go home, he'll kill me. Suwon's like, was that General Mondok, the chief of the Wind Tribe? Huck's like, yep. Suwon's like, I've never been so close to him before. Everyone says he's the strongest of the 5 generals. He's my hero. He's like, I didn't know he was your grandfather. Huck's like, I'm an orphan. Grandpa and I aren't actually related. He's like, I see. He adopted me into his tribe. And Yona's like, but Mondok came to see you. He must really love you, huh? Huck's like, I guess. And you see a trump, trump, trump as someone else is coming. And then you see this intimidating man with his hair up in a little bun with one of the sticks through it holding it together. And he's got this thin goatee. Just a quick glance there. And so someone's like, Father, what are you doing here? And he goes, is it strange for me to visit my son when he's sick? Someone's like, but what if you get sick from being near me? And his father just gives like this death glare as he goes, do you think I'd let some paltry illness defeat me? And someone's like, of course not, but I hear you're very busy right now. And Yona's just kind of like turned over to the side, he's trying to hide. And she goes, Uncle Yuhan, he's so tough and stern. He's nothing like Suwon at all. So then Yuhan goes, Yon, he was determined to come too. Suwon's like, Mother? But in her condition, it would be dangerous for her to fall ill, so I made her... Oh, no, the father goes, but in her condition, it would be dangerous for her to fall ill, so I made her stay home. You mustn't make your mother worry. I want you to slaughter that sickness as soon as possible. Suwon's like, I will. And they're like, slaughter? He's like, as for the rest of you, and you see Hopkins, Yona just twitching in fear. As he goes, I'll send some get-well gifts later. Huck's like, oh, he's always so intense. I got chilly just being near him. And Yona's just doing the cute crying face. She's like, I was so scared. And you see that Suwon's just awestruck by the sight of his father. And he goes, what a wonderful day. All right, I'll do my best to slaughter this sickness. Huck's like, go to sleep, idiot. Take that and that. And Yona's thinking about her own father. She goes, it hurts so much, Father. Why won't you visit me? Don't abandon me. You see the next page, you see the spread of food laid out in front of Yona. You see some beans, some soup, what looks like some meat. And they're like, just have one bite, princess, please. And Yona's like, I don't want it. I don't want any. And Suwon's like, you need to eat a little, Yona. And Huck's like, if you don't, you'll get uglier, Your Highness. And there's just an awkward silence as Yona isn't saying anything. And you hear someone commenting outside, His Majesty hasn't come to visit her? It's like, no, I informed him about Her Highness, but how typical of him. I'll bet he doesn't want to go near his daughter because he's scared to get sick. And you have Suwon shouting out, be quiet! And then you see 2 people outside kind of going silent. Huck goes, your father is the king. He's doing his job even at a time like this. I admire that. And Yona's like, yeah. It's like, I'm sorry. It's like, let's sleep close together tonight. Don't come near me, I'll get sick. It's like, you're already sick. And Yona's like, I'm sorry for thinking I was all alone. And you see later that night a little low growl as Yona's stomach is grumbling. And Suwon's like, oh, are you hungry, Yona? I'll call for some food. So he takes a little bell and he just dings it for some food. And Huck's like, that was a loud growl as Yona just bops him on the head. You see a fish as a steaming bowl of chicken rice porridge is brought to her. And he's like, chicken rice porridge, my favorite. And then as Yona takes a bite, she's like, why is it so awful? There's something wrong with my taste buds? You have someone commenting, "It's that bad, huh?" And then Yona's father comes in and she's like, "Father!" He goes, "I made that for you." And she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he goes, I was worried, so I came to check up on you. I heard you didn't eat, so I wanted to cook your favorite dish to make up for not visiting sooner. I followed the recipe as best as I could. Sorry." The next page you see Yona just going nom 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 as she starts shoveling the food into her mouth. And he's like, I thought it tasted bad. And she's just crying with happiness that her father, cared enough to make her favorite food. And she goes, "It's really terrible." You see the next day, "I'm all better now." And Huck's like, "You sound disappointed, Your Highness." And she's like, "Not really." And Suwon's like, "I'm disappointed." And Huck's like, "Because you can't sleep next to Her Highness anymore?" And he goes, "I can sleep next to her anytime I want." He goes, "I wish we could all sleep next to each other forever and ever, even if it meant having that cold." It's like, we don't have to be sick. Staying together is pretty simple. Yona's like, "You're right. Suwon, Huck, let's play again tomorrow. Let's play forever and ever." He's like, "Huh?" And you see Yona thinking, "Where did they go?" She goes, "Oh, father, father." And she has flashbacks to Suwon having run her father through. And she wakes up with a jolt. She kind of looks looking around, panicked at her surroundings. And then she hears a rustle behind her and she flinches. And she sees Suwon coming up from behind her after he went foraging. And he goes, "You're awake? Sorry, I was getting some water to drink." As soon as she sees him, she starts crying. She goes, "The three of us always used to gaze up at the sky together. That sky is nowhere to be seen now." And you see back at the palace, "Lord Suwon, Her Highness and General Huck are nowhere to be found within the palace or in its vicinity." And he goes, "I see. I'll dispatch some men to pursue them." And then he's like, "No, we can ignore them." And he's like, "What? You're going to let them live?" But he goes, "Now that they've left the palace, there's nothing they can do to us. Anyway, we've got more important things to do." With that chapter 4 end, we have chapter 5, Just Breathing. And you have, "Aren't you going to eat, Your Highness?" And you see that Huck has found some fish and he's grilled it up nicely on a skewer over the fire. And he goes, "If you don't want fish, I can catch a bird." And Yona's just kind of sitting there, almost catatonic, not saying anything. And he goes, "You should eat at least a little. The mountain paths from here are more difficult. I don't know how much food I'll be able to find. Here we know there's fish." And he glances over at her and he comments, "She's getting weaker and weaker. And not just physically. Time's passing, but she still can't face the reality of the situation. His Majesty's death, Suwong's betrayal." And you see a sploosh as you see Yona's taking a bath and Huck standing guard. On the next page, you see her, she's pulled up onto the rocks, and you see a bunch of leeches have stuck themselves onto her leg. And she's like, "What are these things?" And Huck goes, "Leeches." He goes, "Hold still." He goes, "Take that," as he slowly flicks them off her. And he goes, "They're bloodsuckers. You find them in ponds and swamps." And Yona's like, "Blood?" He's like, "Don't worry. They can't hurt you." He goes, "I'll leave your clothes here," as he turns away embarrassed and walks off. He goes, "Crap, don't get any funny ideas. Normally she would have hit me. From now on I have to take her wherever I go. How long is she going to be in this condition? She doesn't eat. She goes wherever I put her. She's like a doll." He goes, "Are you happy now? The years we spent together, the princess who adored you, you destroyed them all. Are you satisfied, Suwon?" And as Huck stands up, he sees a clatter. He goes, "This is..." And he picks up the little flower pin that Suwon gave to her at the party. He goes, the hairpin Suwon gave her at the party. She kept it." And Huck just grips it in his hand as he goes, "Princess Yona, we have to hurry. We need to cover some ground before dark." And he grabs her hand, he starts taking her, leading her through the forest. And he goes, "Let's stop here for the night," as he takes her to this little overhang with a cave underneath. and she sees a little what I think is a centipede going by, and he goes, "Don't worry, the bugs are harmless, and I got rid of all the leeches back at the pond." And as Yona's standing there, she suddenly realizes something. She starts patting her clothing, and she realizes that she's lost something. And Huck's like, "What's the matter? Did you lose something?" And Yona just shakes her head no. And then later that night, they're sitting around the fire, and he's offering her some berries. And as she's sitting there, she goes, "I don't need that thing. I don't need it at all." And she flashes back to Suwon telling her, "Yona, I think your hair's wonderful. It's the color of the sky at dawn." And you see the wind rustling through the trees, and Yona gets up as she's about to take off, and Huck grabs her and goes, "Where are you going?" And she goes, I was just..." And he thinks, Huck goes, "Oh, to relieve herself." And he lets go and he goes, "Oh, hurry back, okay?" And you see Yona taking off through the woods again. And you see the rustling of the wind through the leaves as the wind starts blowing more and more. And she keeps flashing back to that moment where she saw Suwon standing over her father's corpse. And as she turns to look behind her, she sees the snake just rearing up behind her. She thinks, "The man you knew never existed. If anyone gets in my way, I will destroy them." And you see the snake just slowly curling its way up her legs, and right as it's about to strike, she cries out no, and Huck comes in and knocks her backward. And you see that he stabbed his knife right into the snake before he did. And he goes, "Are you all right? You were gone for so long. Why'd you come all this way? These snakes are venomous, and it's dark. You could slip and fall. I can't believe you came here alone. Are you trying to get yourself killed?" And as she's startled out of her little reverie, you see a hair slithering sound. You see more snakes weaving their way between their legs. And he goes, "Not good. They must nest around here." So he grabs her in his arms and starts taking off. And one of the snakes strikes and bites onto his leg. And he goes, "Ah!" And he goes, "Fine. Stay quiet and hold on tight, Highness." He goes, "Oh, think of me as a tool. With His Majesty gone, you are my master. Use me however you have to survive. That's why I'm here." You see later that night, he's wrapping a bandage around his leg that was bitten. And he's putting a little poultice together to treat the snake bite. And he's going, "Ha, ha." And he sees that Yona's watching him, with concern. And he goes, "I'm fine. I know how to treat venomous snake bites." And he reaches into his robe and pulls out the little hairpin. And he goes, "Is this what you were looking for, Princess?" And he gives it over to her. And then Yona's just kind of looking at it. And he goes, "I'll never forgive Suwon, but the important thing is that I want you to live." And then Huck thinks to himself, looking for that hairpin was the first thing you did of your own volition since we entered the mountains. Right now, I need something to hold you together. It doesn't matter what it is, even if it's a feeling you can't let go of. You see the next day, and Nora's just looking at the beautiful foliage above her. And she notices Huck's bandaged leg. And as she's reaching out towards it, he goes, "I'm fine. You think some tiny snake bite is going to do in General Huck? Now that you're up, let's get moving." And Yona's like, Huck?" And he's like, "Hmm?" And she goes, "Why are we going into the mountains? We should find a village. We need food and medicine." Huck goes, "Too dangerous. Even if the villagers don't know what we look like, soldiers from the palace could be anywhere. And Suwon may have posted sketches of our faces." She goes, "Then where are we headed?" And he goes, "The only place we can rely on right now. Fuga, the capital city of the Wind Tribe. My homeland." Chapter 5 End. So that concludes the read-through of Yona of the Dawn, Volume 1. So I think I touched on most of my thoughts in my last video, my last read-through video. So I'm just going to basically reiterate those points because I don't think too much has changed in the 2 chapters that were left in this volume. So far, it's an interesting blend of almost kind of like slice of life blended with a little bit of historical fiction and a story. It really gave me a lot of bride story kind of vibes, just and how the romance and everything was kind of set up, and just in the kind of general storytelling. Continuing through to chapters 4 and 5, I think my comments from last time regarding the tonal shift really do still stand out. Like the shift between kind of the dramatic, serious moments, almost the lighthearted moments back in the childhood, back to when she was thinking about the good times. It is a little bit too jarring with just how quickly it shifts from one to the other. Which it's not totally off-putting, but it does kind of take you out of, it does interrupt the flow of the story a little bit just going through it because of how it's ordered and structured. So I hope maybe in the preceding volume, in the volumes coming up after this, hopefully that gets toned down a little bit and we get a little bit more consistency in tone throughout the various volumes. That said, I'm also hoping that Yona starts playing a more proactive role in the series going forward. I can't really fault her for not being that proactive in the first volume because a lot of it is, kind of set up for the larger story arc, with her getting double crossed, and her kind of struggling with, the grief of having lost her father, being betrayed by her, one of her closest friends and someone she loved. So I can't really fault her for not, taking a larger role in that regard so far in the first volume. That said, I hope that does change going forward. We see her becoming more independent in that kind of role. But yeah, apart from that, it was an entertaining read. So I am looking forward to the second volume and where it goes from there. And yeah, like I said, hopefully I'll get some of those out over the next week or so. And until next time, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later.